Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
I'm John Reisinger.
Now, as if the concern over YouTube video monetization, the recent restrictions for streaming for games like Persona 5 weren't enough, now gameplay creators have another thing to worry about. If you're a Twitch streamer in Germany, the government may be coming for you.
This sounds like conspiracy theory, but it's not. Thanks to a new ruling, the government there is requiring any Twitch streamer who broadcasts to more than 500 people to get a license, which costs thousands of euros. And if they don't do it by the end of this month, they could be classified as a pirate station and get shut down.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a cool, like, hey guys, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a pirate.
Yar!
Yeah, but it's unfortunately not as cool as it sounds. As you can imagine, this has prompted a lot of outcries from streamers who are now worried that, well, they will get shut down and they don't even get a cool flag to go with it. And it's the latest example of internet content creators feeling like their livelihood is being threatened as seemingly more and more limits are being put on what can be broadcast online.
Okay, but first, what's going on in Germany? Let's just check in with Germany for a little bit. According to press reports there, the government agency that regulates broadcasting met last month and decided that popular German streamer, PH Schmidt, gonna ruin that name, I apologize, TV.
Sorry, German's not our strong point.
I'm sorry, but they ruled that they are a broadcasting service without authorization. And so since Peter Smits, who runs the channel, is considered a broadcaster, he needs to register for a license, which can range from 1,000 to all the way up to 10,000 euros.
The rationalization, according to the government, is that the stream has radio-like offers, which is probably a reference to advertisements and therefore a Twitch stream. Same thing as radio.
It's identical, and because there's one thing the government understands, and that's the internet. They got it down.
On the bright side, if we want to find a bright side, silver lining here, now when your parents are like, why don't you get a real job? You can say, I work in radio.
Yeah, as a pirate.
Now for Smits, the license fee, well, yeah, it's a problem. Probably not a problem. Now, considering the size of his audience. He's got more than 2 million YouTube subscribers, more than 320,000 followers on Twitch. So he can probably afford that license fee. But this ruling could kill off tons of smaller channels in Germany, channels that are still trying to find their audience and trying to make it their livelihood.
Yeah, we should note that Germany actually isn't the first country to pull this licensing move. Last year, China cracked down on live streamers who had said were undermining the people's interests. China passed a number of regulations to control content on sites like Twitch and similar sites in that country.
Those regulations forced streamers to register with their real names and prohibited streaming of games that have been banned in China. Oh, and like in Germany, Chinese streamers now need a license to operate, which in China basically gives the government control over streaming in the country.
Nothing bad could happen from that. Prior to that, the Chinese government was straight up busting streamers. Last November, the government arrested 36 streamers for crimes including promoting gambling, spreading the porn, and something called crimes against public morality.
It's probably all those ladies eating bananas.
Crimes against public morality
Real
is gonna be my
indecent.
party theme this weekend.
I like it.
So yeah, maybe China isn't the government you want to pattern yourself after. Maybe not.
Yeah, well, like there's not a lot that the Chinese government does that surprises us too much, but yeah, maybe not the one to emulate.
Yeah, there's some hope though. The ruling by the German Broadcast Authority is temporary, and it admitted that its guidelines are outdated.
So that is rare for a government. It's not often to hear them say that their shit's too old.
Yeah, and apparently the ruling was aimed at old media to prevent TV and radio stations from billing themselves as streaming companies in order to avoid paying a broadcasting license. So the ruling could change in the future, but until the laws are rewritten, it looks like German streamers are going to have to license up.
It's interesting too, just because as everything is becoming more and more digital, like TV is moving online with Netflix more and more and all those sorts of services. How is that gonna change over time? Like when it's all digital, what's broadcasting versus what's not and what's gonna have to be licensed? This is gonna be a tricky time, not gonna lie. And all of this right now is coming at a time when governments and companies are putting more and more rules on gaming events and streaming. They're obviously meeting resistance from gamers who've made their livelihoods and the fans who support them because, well, no cowboy wants to see the Wild West tamed, and that's kind of what we are right now, is we don't operate with a lot of rules. There aren't a lot of regulations saying what you can and cannot do. You're not gonna get fined if you say something like swearing on television, but eventually, first the railroads will come, then the law will come, and then civilization. We won't be free forever.
I'm lost.
I just really want to think that I'm a cowboy.
Yeah, yeehaw. In the UK, the government recently said it's looking into whether some esports tournaments are technically gambling or not.
Now, as for streaming, you may remember the big controversy last week surrounding Persona 5. That's when Atlas threatened to shut down the channels of anyone who streamed past a certain point in the game. Yeah, people didn't really like that all that much, and so of course some people were streaming past the date of death just to prove a point.
Those rebellious gamers. So gamers, they typically think it's fun to see what they can get away with, but it's worth noting that these kinds of restrictions and the flaunting of them are all things lawmakers might look at when considering how to regulate these industries.
We think that our shenanigans are cheeky and fun, but all the lawmakers see is copyright violations.
Yeah, those pirate cowboys.
Yeah. They don't see us as nearly as cool as we see us. And on top of all that, YouTube has been cracking down on what it will and will not monetize on certain channels. Not because anyone's streaming past whatever date in Persona, but because they're losing advertising dollars from companies that are increasingly sensitive to the content their ads appear against. Just recently, there's so many advertisers pulled out, they're losing an estimated $750 million of advertising on YouTube in a year. That's a lot of money. That's a huge change for the ecosystem.
Last year, there was a huge ruckus over policies regarding what content can and can't be in monetized videos. Some popular YouTubers like Phil DeFranco were informed that their videos would no longer be monetized because they had content that wasn't covered by YouTube's advertiser-friendly guidelines. Others also reported that a number of their videos had also been demonetized for not being advertiser-friendly. That led to outcries of censorship and fears that YouTube was trying to force some creators off the platform.
And now, more recently, channels are finding that even if they've set videos to be monetized, sometimes they aren't running ads because they're not being considered brand safe. So there's an awful lot of sensitivity going on right now from pretty much every side of the situation.
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense that streamers and other content creators might be a little touchy right now.
Yeah, interestingly, this comes at a time when Twitch is actually starting to look a little bit more like a traditional media company, which is going to blur the lines even more. The company, which is owned by Amazon, is adding more and more live streaming content that doesn't have to do with video games necessarily. Earlier this month, Twitch live streamed 3 Amazon pilot shows, and of course there was the epic marathon of the entire Power Rangers TV series earlier this year. There was Bob Ross.
Yep.
I mean, you know, if you want legitimacy, just do Bob Ross.
Bob Ross is all about the man. And then Twitch rolled out its first in-house production, a mini documentary called Iron Sights, earlier this month as well. So it's another sign that the lines are blurring between traditional media like TV and something like Twitch, which began its life as a streaming service, but now is evolving into something more.
Something that might require licenses eventually. Yeah. Now, what do you guys think of Germany requiring Twitch streamers to get a license? Bad sign for the future of streaming everywhere else? Are you worried about other countries that might emulate it, require licenses? Would you pay a license if that's what it took to get into Twitch streaming? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your news on streaming and governments who don't understand how the internet works, and to learn about when the railroad is coming to your little podunk town, be sure to like this video and subscribe to The Know.
The railroad comes for all of us eventually.
What does that even mean?
It means we get lots of convenient goods really cheap, but then everyone else comes in and then we have to have laws.
Yeah. It also requires us to kill a lot of Chinese people to make the railroad. You can cut that part out.